Hey traders, happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well and had a good week. I definitely had a good week. It was green across the board 5 days straight, which is what I like. Monday I made just over $2,000. Tuesday and Wednesday I made about 500 and something each day. Thursday, yesterday, I made just a little bit over 300. And today I made over $1,400 in under 30 minutes, which is what the purpose of today's video is about, because I'm going to talk about how I essentially used a scalping strategy to get in and out of all of my contracts in about, most of them in about under 10 minutes, but I held a few remaining contracts but got out of everything within 30 minutes. So we're talking about scalping today. And what is scalping exactly? Well, you already know that swing trading is when you hold overnight for a period of days. Usually, it's anywhere between a number of days to a number of weeks could be considered swing trading. Day trading is when you get in and out on the same day. So you'll open something in the morning, and as long as you're out by the close of the day that day, you are day trading. And scalping can be anything between like seconds to minutes of a round trip trade. So like you could get in and get out within 1 minute and you're scalping. And people do that. And scalping definitely works better when you're playing with larger size, because remember, how much can a thing move in 1 minute? Well, it could move quite a bit, but the point is you're not going to make a lot of money in 1 minute if you're only holding one contract. Now, if you're holding, 15, 20, 30, 100 contracts of something and it moves a lot in 1 minute, and then you close out a majority of those contracts in that 1 minute, then yeah, you can make a lot of money in just a minute. So when I'm scalping, the way that I like to do it is I like to get in with slightly larger size than maybe I usually would do, but then I'll get out quicker with that larger size as well. So the difference is that, on a normal day, if I'm trading, whatever, it doesn't matter what the ticker is, but on a normal day, let's say I kind of slowly ease myself into and out of the position. So I'll see the point where I want to enter. I might get 1 or 2 contracts. I'll wait until it does what I think it's going to do, and then I'll add in a couple more contracts. Then maybe it gives me a nice big push up or down depending on which direction I'm going. Then I'll close out some of my contracts to lock in a profit. And then I might add in 1 or 2 contracts and then continue to ride the trend in my favor as it works for me. And then slowly close out contracts over time, and then maybe add in a little bit more. And it's a more kind of subtle, nuanced way of getting in and out over a slightly longer time frame. And when I mean longer time frame, I'm certainly not talking about days, but I'm talking about the whole thing working in, hours, sometimes under an hour, sometimes a few hours. But that's how I'm doing that normally. But when I'm employing more of a swing trading type of tactic like what I did today, I will typically get in with a larger amount of contracts right away, or load up my total position a lot faster, but then I'll also close my position a lot faster as well. So instead of getting in one here, then getting in one here, maybe getting out one, getting in one, getting out one, and on, I'll get in 5 or I'll get in 10 contracts. And then a couple minutes later when I close, I'm closing 3 to 5 contracts at a time. And that's how I played Reddit today. And that was my one trade that made me nearly $1,400 in less than 30 minutes today. And Reddit is something that I don't normally trade. And, you've heard me say on this channel before, I don't usually pay attention to the news, which is true. But today I heard a particular news story about Reddit. I'm not going to get into exactly what it is because that's a whole different video in itself. But I read some news about Reddit, and then what I did was I looked at the chart. And based on what I saw on the chart after I read the news, that is what gave me the confirmation that I needed to feel comfortable in going long on Reddit pretty much right when it reached a certain level. And I'm going to do a screen share in just a second so I can explain to you exactly what I saw and exactly when I got in and out as I was getting in and out today. But the short version of the story is that I saw some news about Reddit. The news was confirmed by what I saw on the charts, and then a couple of key levels intersected right at the beginning of the day. And because of that intersection, it made me feel confident that I could take this long. And so I did. I took it long with larger amount of contracts right away than what I usually use. And then I closed out quicker than how I usually close out. And so I'll explain all of that in just a second when we get into the screen share. But this is another reason why you need to be able to adapt your techniques based on individual things that happen each day. And when I say adapt, I don't mean change up the strategy. My strategy today was the same as my strategy always is. It's a trend strategy. I'm going with the trend, I'm joining the trend, and I'm profiting off the trend, and then I'm getting out of my position before the trend reverses on me and eats away at my profits. It's as simple as that. So the strategy was exactly the same strategy that I always use every day when I trade. But the actual tactics today were a little bit different, meaning I scalped today, and I don't usually scalp all that much. I usually hold for a slightly longer period of time. But that just goes to show that you need to be able to be adaptable to whatever the chart throws at you. You can't say, well, I want to do this today, and then try to bend the chart to your will. It's the other way around. You have to adapt yourself to what the chart is telling you. And so when the chart is telling you you should get in and out quickly with a larger size, then that's how you trade. When the chart's telling you this is a slow, long, controlled sort of move, and you can get in and out a little bit more nuanced over time, then that's how you trade that chart. You simply look at the chart and adapt to the chart, not the other way around. Okay, so here we are taking a look at Reddit, and you can see that I've put my screenshot of my detailed entries and exits up here, and we're going to get into the minute by minute here shortly. But you'll notice the biggest thing is that right away during the first minute of the day, I got all of my contracts essentially, with the exception of a couple more that I opened up 5 and 6 minutes into the session. But the main thing here is we've got 12 contracts to open during the first minute. And you can see something interesting right here. Within within like 30 seconds, the price just skyrocketed. And that's why I felt really comfortable getting these 10 here. You'll notice that I got one contract at the 26th second of 8:30. Then I got another contract 3 seconds later And then I got 5 contracts about 4 seconds after that, and then 5 more contracts about 10 seconds after that. And you can see that the price just skyrocketed in 1 minute. So 26 seconds into 8:30, the contract cost roughly $200. And then not even 30 seconds later, the contract cost $300. So the price of the contract, it rose $100 in about 30 seconds. So this is what told me that we were just really going to take off quickly. And then you'll see that as the price continues to climb, I'm just closing out my contracts in a very scalpish sort of way. So I'm in at 8:30 right here. I'm out 8:31. I mean, I've got 4 contracts. So basically, I was in all my contracts in 1 minute. The very next minute, I closed out 4 of my contracts. 1 minute after that, I closed out 2 more of my contracts. The next minute after that, I closed out 3 more. The next minute, I closed out 1 more. And then there was a slight dip. If we look at the charts here, 8:36. So 8:36. Yeah, we see this big kind of red candle right here at 8:36. I got in 2 more contracts right here. And then, so basically at this point, I had 4 contracts open at 8:36. So I started with 12, closed out, added in 2 more at 8:36. At this point, I had 4 contracts. And then I basically let my last 4 contracts run for this span of time from 8:43 to 9 p.m. And then I'm going to put up the actual P&L and the total amount that I had for the day right now. All right, and here I've put up my actual P&L at the time when I closed everything out. So you can see 20% P&L on the day for a profit of nearly $1,400. I got over the $1,400 with this $51 profit on a couple of Apple contracts that I traded. So yeah, the total is just over $1,400. And up here you can see markets 6 hours until close. This means that this screen capture was taken right at 9 a.m. So I did the entire thing in 30 minutes. But now let's get back into why I actually did what I did by looking at the charts here. So what we can see here is, okay, so this was Thursday. This this dark black section over here on the left is Thursday. This is post-market, and then pre-market starts right here, and then this was Friday. I'm actually recording this part of the video on Sunday, so we've already gotten into the weekend. Basically what happened was right after the close of the day on Thursday, the story that I read, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the story, but basically what it is Reddit made a deal with OpenAI. So they were partnering with OpenAI, and that was extremely bullish news for Reddit, the fact that they made this partnership with OpenAI. That's not the point of the whole thing, because news happens all the time, and just because you read a news story, that doesn't mean that it necessarily has anything to do with what's going to happen, with the stock price the next day. But the thing that I noticed right before the market opened up, and I'm going to zoom in here, you can see that on this is the minute chart, and I'm looking at things on the daily chart, like earlier in the open, and that didn't really tell me too much when I looked at this on the daily chart. But what I got into on the minute chart is you see these light gray lines right here. This is the VWAP. So we've got the center VWAP line, this dotted line right here in the middle. But more importantly, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the center line on the VWAP, but I do pay attention to the outer lines on the VWAP. And this is not something that I always pay attention to, but I definitely do check it from time to time. And before we opened up on Friday, what I did was I put the VWAP up, and then I noticed this area right here. I'm going to make a little highlight of it. You can see that price almost exactly bounced off of this convergence of the bottom line on the VWAP with yesterday's high of day. So we've got the high of day and the low of day yesterday. And so what this told me is that right at the first minute of the open, we came down, we touched this area where yesterday's high of day and the lowest line on the VWAP, which is usually a sign that we're going to play in between this line. So more often than not, you'll see that price will touch the upper or lower level of the VWAP and then either bounce off of it or just sort of hover around it. You see right here, we kind of hovered around it. Later on in the day, we bounced right off of it, came down, kind of just played around this middle line of the VWAP. But the thing that I was paying attention to was this the lower level of the VWAP, and we basically just bounced right off of it. We were converging on yesterday's high of day and the lower level of the VWAP, and the fact that price was so volatile within the first 30 seconds of the day, and the fact that we had that news story about Reddit and OpenAI deal, which made me think that, at least for a short period of time in the morning, we were going to get a nice big pop. And that's exactly what we did. And that's why I just played it, to the upside. You remember when I just had my detailed ins and outs, you see that I got almost everything right here in the first minute, and then I just closed it out the next couple minutes. And since the volatility was so high at this first 4 minutes of the day, that means that the underlying options price was moving a lot. So, when it's going in your favor, it's really going hard in your favor. And then, let's see, like 6 minutes in, I added a couple more because I saw this red candle right here that just touched off of this the middle line on the VWAP. And I thought, we're not going to break through this. We're at least going to hover around it or bounce off of it. And we did. And I basically closed out everything else right up until this 9 o'clock candle, right when I got out my last contract. And as you can see, we did indeed kind of reverse here. And later on, about 9:30, we got up a little bit higher. So it's possible that I could have held on to at least one of these contracts and made even a little bit more had I waited until 9:30. But I'm obviously super happy with making nearly $1,400 in 30 minutes. And so that's how you scalp, basically. Like I said, I don't scalp all the time, but when certain things line up, I do like to scalp. And it was Friday, and so on Fridays, as you know, I like to get in and out very quickly. If I do scalp more than often, it's on a Friday. I mean, I don't always scalp on Friday, but when I do scalp, which is pretty rare, but when I do trade like this, meaning in and out within 5 minutes with everything, it's usually on a Friday because I'm just trying to really get in and out as quick as possible. And so that's it. That's how you scalp, and worked out great for me today. And so if you need to ever scalp, just remember In order to make scalping work, you have to get in and out with a larger amount of size, because just moving one contract is not going to do a whole lot for you, just one contract in a couple of minutes. But when you've got 10, 20, or 30 contracts in 2 or 3 minutes, when the move is real strong in your direction, then you can actually make that pretty profitable for you. Okay, I hope you like that little breakdown. Just further proof that the strategy works. It works almost every day. This week I was green 5 days in a row. I essentially paid my mortgage with 30 minutes worth of work this morning. When it's on, it's really, really on. And you can do this too. This is not, I'm not some sort of genius. I just stumbled onto a thing that absolutely works, and I'm making it work every day for myself, and you can make it work for you too. So check out my website and get my course if you want to learn exactly how I do all of these things every single day. I personally think that the course is not expensive enough, but at the same time, I don't want to overcharge people, because I know that some people don't have a lot of money to spend on things, and I would rather have my course be a little bit less expensive and give more people the chance to get involved and learn what they need to learn to do the same thing that I do to make a full-time living, basically not having a job, which is pretty awesome. So go get my course, or if you want the cheaper book alternative version of that, you can get my book. That's on Amazon. And I hope you have a good weekend. I'll be back next week with more content and more trade breakdowns. So till then, take care. See you soon.